Welcome to Mothering from Within, the podcast where we dive into the heart of parenting during those magical yet challenging first few years. I'm Kaili, a mama of two, a pediatric occupational therapist, and your guide on this beautiful journey of motherhood. Every week, we explore the wonders and hurdles of motherhood with curiosity, we gain clarity around our babies, and find the courage to trust our instincts. If you are a mama who wants to do motherhood your way, confidently, courageously, authentically, then you are in the right place. So grab a cup of tea, tuck those little ones in for a nap, or bring them along for the ride. It's time to get curious, gain clarity, and unleash your courage to do motherhood your way. A gentle disclaimer, please do not consider anything discussed on this podcast by myself or any guest of the podcast to be medical advice. The information is provided for educational purposes only and does not take the place of your own medical or healthcare provider. Hey mama, how are you? First of all, congratulations on becoming a mama. Whether you have a fresh newborn or an active toddler, know that I've been where you are and I'm here for you. For this very first episode of Mothering from Within, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about me so that you can feel like you know me, this voice in your ear while you feed your baby, go for walks while they nap in the stroller or carrier, or when you're driving around to all of your baby classes and appointments. I'm Kaili, lovingly known as the Holistic Baby Guru. I am the founder of Kaili's Family Wellness, and also my local in-person business called Cranial OT. I have a passion for normalizing and bringing clarity around baby sleep, development, reflux, and more. As a seasoned pediatric occupational therapist, I have deepened my practice by embracing the transformative powers of craniosacral therapy, along with various certifications in holistic sleep, reflux, feeding, and tongue ties, and so much more. I'm also a wife and a mom of two, my son Christian, who is currently 8, and my daughter Evie, who is 6. At this stage, I finally feel like I'm coming up for air and can breathe just a little bit more. I'm on a mission to educate and inspire mamas to tune into their intuition and feel like the confident super moms they are, which is what my book and this podcast, Mothering from Within, are all about. I like to think that I provide down-to-earth advice that makes everyone feel like they can do this parenting thing. I want to take a moment and let you know about my book, Mothering from Within. Like a good friend, therapist, and mentor, this book offers guidance and support to help you navigate motherhood with intuition, grace, and yes, a bit of humor. It's full of evidence-informed, developmentally appropriate, attachment-focused information on developmental milestones, baby sleep, reflux, feeding, mama mental health, and so much more. To grab a copy, check out the link in the show notes below. For this first episode of Mothering from Within, I thought it appropriate to tell you a little bit about my own motherhood journey, how it unfolded at the beginning, and really how it has brought me right here chatting with you. I always knew I wanted to be a mama, and now I also know how hard motherhood can be. When I got pregnant with my firstborn, Christian, I was overjoyed, and with many years of pediatric occupational therapy experience under my belt, I thought it would be a breeze. No problem. I got this whole mom thing. Well, I did, sort of. Yes, I knew how to play with my baby, and I knew how to encourage him to meet his milestones on time. I talked and I sang to help him in his language development, and I bounced and rocked him to calm him. But what I didn't know about or anticipate was the pure exhaustion and brain fog of sleep deprivation, the fear of him choking when we started solids, the worry and the guilt that would come from comparing him to other babies, the loneliness of having no one but your little person to talk to day in and day out. There were definitely many days when it just seemed easier to not get dressed and not leave the house. My son Christian had reflux, though he was a happy spitter, but really he ate every hour and spat up a lot of the milk after each feed. And breastfeeding hurt like hell the first few months. My nipples were often cracked and bleeding. I remember sitting at the table and soaking my breasts in warm salt water after every feed. Yeah, for real. Thing is, I didn't know better. I went to see a lactation consultant and even went to a few La Leche League meetings. But things didn't really get better. We sort of just managed through the frequent feeds, all the spit-up stained clothing, and the pain. And I did exclusively end up breastfeeding him for the first 6 months and all the way to almost 2 years of age. Turns out he had a tongue tie, which I didn't know about until he was 7 years old. I want to take a moment and let you know about my book, Mothering from Within. Like a good friend, therapist, and mentor, this book offers guidance and support to help you navigate motherhood with intuition, grace, and yes, a bit of humor. It's full of evidence-informed, developmentally appropriate, attachment-focused information on developmental milestones, baby sleep, reflux, feeding, mama mental health, and so much more. To grab a copy, check out the link in the show notes below. And Christian wasn't what you would call a good sleeper either. At least I didn't think so at the time. In fact, he was the classic 20 to 30-minute napper who'd wake up the second the stroller stopped or his head hit the bassinet mattress. He could sleep for 3 hours on or next to me, but rarely alone in his own sleep space. He never slept for more than 2 or 3 hours in a row until he was 8.5 months old. And I was exhausted. I started dreading the nights and therefore going to bed later, essentially self-sabotaging my own sleep. I started to dread responding to my son when he woke at night and even felt as if I hated him at times. It was awful. Then I got help. Help that felt supportive and in line with my values, that didn't make me leave my baby to cry and to figure it out alone. And with more sleep, the mama brain fog lifted just a little, and I felt as though I could think and be again, and I recognized that mamas needed more knowledge and support. So I set out on a new journey to help reduce the overwhelm of motherhood, one mama and baby at a time. Mamas, I see you, I hear you, I have worked with you, and I have walked in similar shoes. While having a baby was exciting, joyful, and a dream come true, my start to motherhood was also stressful, full of worrying, questioning, comparing, Googling, reading, analyzing, and ultimately wanting to do the best for my baby. I was confused, even though I had tons of training and experience in infant and child development. I was totally stressed out from reading all the blogs and books and downloading the various schedules, feeling as if these were all things I was supposed to do. They all said something different, and I was so overwhelmed until I stopped. I stopped caring about what the schedules and outdated books said. I stopped caring about the fact that my baby wasn't quite the same as other babies in terms of sleep and rolling and overall demeanor. I stopped stressing and I started just being. I started watching my baby with the intention of enjoying the moments, however small. I tuned into my knowledge of what is normal for baby sleep and development. And I watched the stress melt away. The self-trust came back, the knowing that I understood what was best for my baby, and ultimately for me. As long as I followed this knowing, he would be fine. We would both be fine. Now I'm on a mission to help you feel the same way, to help you go from overwhelmed and confused to confident and thriving, to help you tune in and trust your mama instincts. They're there, I promise. That is what this podcast, Mothering from Within, is all about. Every week, we explore the wonders and hurdles of motherhood. With curiosity, we gain clarity around our babies and find the courage to trust our instincts. Here, it's not just about getting it right. It's about finding your unique rhythm in this beautiful dance of motherhood. We'll laugh, we'll learn, and sometimes we'll just breathe through it all together. And now, for a little bit of fun and a chance to get to know me a little bit more, I'm going to give you 10 fun facts about me. Number 1, I have always wanted to be a mom since my sister was born when I was 6 years old, and I basically pretended like she was mine. Number 2, I have been an occupational therapist now for 16 plus years and still have a hard time explaining exactly what that means. Number 3, I love all the woo, essential oils, crystals, frequencies, hydrogen water, and the list goes on. So although this podcast is not about that, you may get a few special surprises here and there. Number 4, I am Estonian. Don't worry, most people have no idea what that means or where Estonia even is. And I love Estonian folk dancing. I have danced in 2 different folk dancing groups in 2 different countries. I even danced at my wedding, in my wedding dress, and also up until I was 34 weeks pregnant. I love colors and patterns, and I find black very boring. Heck, I even painted a purple wall in my home office. Number 6, I'm a huge nerd and course junkie. I love to learn, and while I don't really watch TV, you'll often find me reading a work-related book or watching a webinar in the evenings after the kids go to bed. Number 7, I do CrossFit 3 to 4 times a week, and I love it. Never have I surprised myself more than with this workout regime. This is the most consistent workout I have ever done, even though I have to give myself a pep talk daily to get to the gym. Number 8, day dates are my fave. I love going wine tasting with my husband and friends in the Niagara region. Number 9, I have fallen in love with nail stickers and have new nail art on my fingers every single week. And finally, number 10, infant craniosacral therapy is my newest passion. I have a lot of them. I just love working with babies and all the snuggles and yes, even the tears. If you have made it this far, I want to thank you for listening. But I also want to congratulate you on taking the first step toward getting better sleep, gaining confidence in your baby's feeding and development, building a closer bond with your baby, and returning to trusting your mama instincts. The first 2 years of motherhood will forever change you. You'll discover superpowers you never knew you had. While you'll do the very best for your baby, I want you to remember that you don't have to do that at the expense of yourself. Promise me that you will also prioritize yourself, nurture yourself, take care of yourself, just the way you take care of everyone else in your life, and do your best to remember who you were before having a baby. My hope is that this podcast will soon become one of your faves and will help you do just that. This is your space to bloom into the mama you're meant to be, and I am honored to be by your side. Stay tuned for episode 2. Bye for now. Thanks for listening. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe to the podcast for more nurturing insights. Share this episode with a friend, and please review our show on the listening app of your choice to help it grow. And don't forget to tag me on socials at The Holistic Baby Guru.